Today's video is sponsored by Sakura and Tokyo Treat. More on that later. Hey there, it's PK Beats. Alright, that's enough introductions. Starting off, our beloved Examinee623 has informed me of a method in which you could hypothetically make sudden death last forever. Now, I've already made a whole video about this topic, and in that video I showed a true way to make sudden death last forever, but it also requires the use of some specific type of custom stage. Now this method works anywhere. Basically all you gotta do is go into sudden death, go into the camera action, and hold down L, the frame by frame option. And that's it. Yeah, when you do this, the game technically continues, but the fire does not, and thus the stages of sudden death do not continue. And because of this, the bob-bombs don't fall, and you can stay like this forever. You can further prove that the fire hasn't moved by just moving around. The blast zones haven't shrunk any. If you unpause and let the fire move in further, then pause again, you can run into the shrunken blast zones while in frame by frame. Now if you go into frame by frame when the fire has stopped moving inwards, eventually the bob-bombs will spawn in and end things. Unfortunately, as some of you might be hoping, like I did, these replays can't be saved, and thus played in real time. The moment you make use of the frame by frame option, the match becomes unsavable, which is a shame. Also unfortunately, anything that happens within sudden death doesn't seem to be recorded in the victory screen data section, so we can't really see anything there either. I think it's pretty interesting how frame by frame stops the motions of sudden death. It properly moves most of the match's factors, like stage obstacles and whatnot, and it'll even properly move the in-game timer forward. Here I paused with 55 seconds left, and after using frame by frame there's only 48 seconds left. So yeah, I mean that's another way to keep sudden death going forever. Not quite as efficient as my last time covering this topic, but it's still something. Speaking of past videos, I once posed the question if you could save a character who is drowning. The conclusion, unfortunately, was that there was no way to do so, as once a character is in this drowning position, they are intangible, both to you and the ground, and are thus destined to fall to Davy Jones' locker. However, Examinee623 returns once again to tell me about a method in which one could, very temporarily, save one of those drowning characters. Basically, if you use a windbox on the drowning character a few frames before they officially enter that drowning animation, the windbox will actually be able to move the character. However, they'll still enter the drowning animation. Yeah, when I said temporary, I meant it. They'll be whisked away into the sky and just keep falling, like before. So this is less saving them and more of something like what Link did to Mikau in Majora's Mask. You can bring them back to the surface, but they're still gonna die. Also, yes, you can do this in real time. The timing is a bit precise, but you can get used to it. Otherwise, even though Mario's been risen to the air, he's still drowning, meaning he's basically ethereal. Other windboxes won't do anything, and neither will items or anything like that. Size-changing items can affect him, but, they hardly help him stop drowning. So while this doesn't save someone from drowning, it is better than what I offered before, and watching someone drown in mid-air is pretty funny. Speaking of water, for the third time in a row, Examinee623 has a submission regarding how one could stay underwater indefinitely. You want to go to Great Bay for this. Basically have someone stand on the edge of this rock here, the very edge of it, position Greninja around here, jump out of the water and immediately input up special, angling it downwards and to the left. And when you're underwater, move your momentum to the right in order to stay under the rock, and you'll be stuck there. Rather than eventually drowning or anything, you'll stay in this swimming upward animation. So yes, technically, you're underwater forever. As long as neither you nor the person on the rock move very much. Of course, if the person on the rock moves even a tiny bit, you'll pop right up. I tried other characters for the position of the rock and they all worked, though the larger characters seemed to be a little bit more lenient. I actually managed to get another character under the rock like this, that being Pikachu, with the use of Quick Attack. So really all that matters is that you manage to get a character under this specific spot somehow, which I'm sure some other characters can do. As far as I would know, Great Bay is the only place you can do this, as other stages with water have workarounds preventing this, like the spike hitbox on the pirate ship, even if you manage to get directly below it. Or like how there's just nothing to go below in Tortimer Island. Basically, normally there's an invisible wall connecting the bottom of floating things that works properly. But I guess the fact that you can apply weight to the rock here in Great Bay, and thus tilt it, messes up the positioning of that invisible wall, giving you a spot to go under, which is pretty cool. Also, testing all of this, I remembered that if you use Kirby's stone in the water, he'll quite literally sink like a rock. It's not possible to cancel the momentum because the moment you enter the water, the rock ability goes away, meaning there's nothing to cancel. You just gotta hope the body of water is deep enough to survive. Anyways, yeah, so as long as you're able to pull off this insane maneuver in a match, with the help of a friend, and you and said friend never moves from that spot ever, you're perfectly safe, so kick back and pull out a snack. Hey, speaking of snacks, I want to take a moment to thank today's video sponsors Sakurako and Tokyo Treat. Sakurako and Tokyo Treat are authentic Japanese snack boxes that get shipped right to your door every month, with each month having its own unique theme. It's a box service that hopes to spread the hard work and culture behind Japan's snack makers, and they do a great job at it. With Tokyo Treat, you'll get up to 20 of the latest, most exclusive, limited edition and seasonal flavored Japanese snacks that are only available in Japan for a limited time. Think more along the lines of popular grocery snacks. This month's theme here is Snack in Shibuya, with snack types that originate from Shibuya, a city ward in Tokyo. As always, the biggest eye catcher for me is the unique flavor of Kit Kat they have. This time is pudding. It tastes really good. I wish this flavor type was around here more often. But they've also got other cool stuff like sodas or instant noodles. It's really neat. And with Sakurako, you'll receive 20 traditional and authentic artisan Japanese snack items, including Japanese teas, which is always a treat to get, and one special Japanese tableware, which I always find really cool. This month they give you a lovely soup bowl, which I will definitely be using. And this month's theme is Taste of Hokkaido, with fresh and authentic treats coming from the Hokkaido prefecture, located in the north of Japan. Now, when you open this, you might find that you kinda can't read anything. That's why each box comes with its own personalized pamphlet, which will go over Japanese history based around the box's theme, information on how some of the products were made, and very importantly, information on what each item in the box even is. This information includes its name, its allergy information, and whether or not it's vegetarian. Very useful. See right here, I tried this chocolate dorayaki and it was really tasty, way better than the batch I tried to make once. And right here we can see all the information about it that we might need. Oh yeah, and this came from the Sakurako box. So whichever box you want to go with, please click the link in the description and enter code PKBEATS in all caps for $5 off your first order. Order by May 31st for the theme that's gone over in today's video. I really recommend it. It's always nice to have a new snacking experience. So go give it a try. And thank you Sakurako and Tokyo Treat for sponsoring today's video. Moving on. This next section was actually prompted from a post by Jigs on Twitter, which he gave me permission to cover today, so thanks to him. Basically, here's the gist. If you put on the Barra outfit, which is a DLC costume for me Gunner, and then swap over to the headgear option and then quickly swap between them, your game will eventually crash. Yes, this is a really specific setup, but it seems somewhat consistent. The thing is, I wish I could have tested it out myself, but whenever I tried to do this, it didn't work. So knowing that, I tried to figure out the discrepancy between me and Jigs. And my initial thought was that I just had far fewer headgear than he did. So I asked some of my patrons to give me some more data. When Skully tested it out, he crashed his game just fine. And he seemed to have quite a bit more headgear than me. However, when Sylvi700 tried, they did not crash, just like me. To me, this more or less confirmed that the quantity of headgear played a part in this insane game crash setup. I was curious if I could get the concrete numbers, so I asked everyone to tally up the amount of headgear they had. I had 74, and Sylvi700 had 80, whereas Jigs had all 124 available, and Skully had 101. So I figured that the threshold for this to work had to be between 101 and 80. Luckily, the amount of purchasable costumes that were available for me exceeded 30, which meant I could technically be able to test out the exact number in which this glitch started working for me. Of course, I would have rather not had to pay for all these costumes that I'm probably not going to ever use, but hey, it's better than playing World of Light. And if it's for the sake of science, then I'd say it's worth it. So I'd buy a costume, one at a time, test the glitch a bunch of times to see if it worked, and if it didn't, I'd go buy a new costume, continued until it finally did work. And after a while of doing this, it happened. My game crashed with the same setup that the others were using, which means this glitch started working for me once my total headgear count was 90. Now, of course, there's not enough information to confirm that 90 headgear is the exact threshold for this glitch to happen. For things like crashes caused by having too much of something, like data, there's no telling how other factors come in. Like whether or not the outfits provide anything to this, or the number of Miis you have, or the storage on your Switch, you know? But also, something weird happened. After my second time of crashing the game like this, the glitch just stopped working. I kept doing the same setup exactly like I did before, and yet no crashes. And this kept going on for many attempts. So eventually I went to buy another costume just to see if that helped. And with this, it didn't work the first few attempts either, until it just suddenly crashed again. That is to say, I still don't really know what's going on with the fundamentals of this glitch. So these inconsistencies could also skew my 90 headgear number from before. But since I can't exactly unpurchase them, it'll be hard for me to more thoroughly test that. So for now, I'll just stick to the 90 headgear number being the threshold for this glitch. I mean, I even decided to buy 9 more DLC costumes to bring my headgear total to 100, and even after doing this, the glitch didn't work all the time. So as much as I want to test this glitch out with other outfit options, given this inconsistency in how it works, I would have to not only test out every single outfit, but test them multiple times, just in case. And as much as I'd love to do that, I've already spent enough time and money on this and I got things to do. So I'll leave the rest to my lovely viewers to give me more data on that, and any concrete information that crops up will be updated in the future, if it's interesting. Speaking of interesting, Neil gave me a submission regarding Kirby's hammer and jump height spirits. Basically, if you give Kirby jump spirits and have him pull out his hammer, when he jumps, his jump height will be the same as normal, even though it should be way higher. The speed in which he jumps and falls doesn't feel identical to the spiritless Kirby, so it seems there's some sort of effect, but ultimately the jump height is the same. Don't be fooled though, he still has the spirit on, so his horizontal movement will still be affected, which can be jarring. This is really weird because when you equip the bunny hood, the boosted jump height of that works just fine. And the effect the Metal Box has and whatnot will also work and all of that. So it's weird that the jump spirit specifically does not affect this move. I decided to test out the other similar move to this, that being King Dedede's down special, and as I thought, the same thing happens here. The jump spirits don't really work, the horizontal movement is still boosted, and other items like the bunny hood and the Metal Box still work. So it's kinda good to know. Next, All-Star Silver gives me a fun little prompt regarding Bayonetta and the spirit board. Basically, if you find a spirit who's being hosted by Bayonetta, which took me longer to find than I would like to admit, beat her up. In this part where you have to shoot her to get the spirit, with a successful hit, you'll actually see a rose appear on her, which is a really nice touch and is really easy to miss. Let me remind you that roses and stuff do not normally appear upon a successful hit, so I think that's pretty neat. I don't know if any other characters have anything special like that, so it's cool that Bayonetta got some extra flair here. Next, Joey gives me an interesting fact regarding the ice climbers when Nana is the leader. Normally, when Popo is the leader, aka the standard ice climbers, when they take knockback, they have a few potential options for what kind of knockback voice clip they'll use. But what matters to us today is that they make some sort of noise when they take knockback, usually. They can be silent, but most of the time they make some sort of sound, right? But for some reason, when Nana is in the leader position, when you take knockback, they're always silent. Which is actually kind of nice. But anyways, I have no idea why this happens, but this has apparently been the case for, well, probably as long as the game has been out. Yet I don't think I've ever heard anyone mention this until now. Like a lot of things on this channel, it's kind of crazy that they didn't fix it, but whatever. Maybe this just adds strategy to which ice climber I'll let you choose. Also, funny enough, Joey had mentioned in the prompt that they got this from Smash Wiki's trivia section. Once again validating my idea that making a whole video dedicated to this section of the Smash Wiki was a good idea. This means once I eventually get to the ice climbers, I won't cover that fact again, probably, but that's cool. So yeah, keep an eye out for future Smash Wiki trivia videos. Speaking of ice climbers, lastly for today's video, Burbo in my Discord showed me something about them when they enter Hannonbo. That is, in their entrance animation, the secondary ice climber will temporarily be pushed behind the Hannonbo leaves, before popping right back to normal. And yeah. Actually, you know, that's kind of a short prompt to end the video on. So let me go back to the Ice Climbers wiki real quick. Okay, here's something. Apparently in Sora's revealed trailer, the Ice Climbers we see here are actually both Popo. The main differentiating factor between Popo and Nana is, clearly, their hair. Or at least, their bangs. But at this part of the trailer, we can see that both of the Ice Climbers have Popo's mini spiked bangs, and neither of them have Nana's 2 spiked bangs. It's a bit faint, but I definitely see it, and I just find that to be absolutely hysterical. Wow, first we had a crossover with P-Jiggles, and then we had a crossover with my Smash Wiki series. This episode's bonkers. Anyhow, yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. So regarding the Smash Wiki video I've now brought up a few times, It got some good views and very positive reception, so it's a no-brainer that I'll be continuing it. The thing is, I have no idea to what extent, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but in the sense that I have realized there's a lot more to the Smash Wiki than just the fighters. Once I finish covering them, I'll probably be able to move on to stages, which will take even longer I imagine, and then after that I can move on to items and other miscellaneous things. Basically, there's a lot I could cover, so I'm almost tempted to start making that the focus of the channel, with the random facts series being more supplemental, as I gather good submissions. I don't think that would really hurt anyone's feelings. I mean, the type of content would basically be the same regardless, you know, fun trivia about Smash. And it might even be less organized with it going forward. Like, instead of a video about the second row of fighters, I might just do a certain number of fighters until I've got the video's worth of content, and keep going like that, you know? Cause from the looks of things, it feels possible for each of those videos to get really long if I don't do that, and I don't want to have to cut content for that reason, which I admittedly did a tiny bit for my last video. But yeah, basically I liked how that turned out, and so did quite a few people, so expect more of it. And also another thanks to Sakurako and Tokyo Treat for sponsoring this video. Not only does their support really help me out, but their product is genuinely amazing, as you might have heard me say in my other videos. I really recommend it. Click the links in the description if you're interested. So, thanks for watching today's video, and a special thanks to my patrons Skully, Burbo, Raighne, 70700, and everyone else for their support. Stay casual, and I'll see y'all later.